Do you know why this old plastic phone created deeper bonds than your smartphone? Before our lives became a constant stream of notifications, there was a sound that meant someone, somewhere, was intentionally reaching out to you. This isn't just a story about an old plastic phone. It's a story about how its limitations forced us to connect in ways our smartphones are now quietly erasing. It's the story of a technology that, in its beautiful inefficiency, built a different kind of world, a world that might have been less connected, but in many ways was more communal. Think back to the telephone, not the sleek glass rectangle in your pocket, but the telephone. For decades, it was a single object, a permanent fixture in the home. Heavy, tethered by a coiled cord, it often had a place of honor, mounted on the kitchen wall or sitting on its own little table in the hallway. This wasn't just a device, it was a piece of furniture, an anchor, and its presence was communal. A call wasn't just for you, it was for the household. That ring demanded that someone stop what they were doing and answer, creating a small, shared moment of mystery. Who could it be? This single shared device created an unspoken social etiquette. You learned to take messages for your parents. You learned a special kind of patience when your older sister was on the phone for what felt like an eternity. Conversations were semi-public. A call from a friend might be overheard by a parent in the next room, a dynamic that absolutely shaped what was said and how. This wasn't a private portal to the world. It was a shared gateway. The phone was like a member of the family, a silent witness to decades of news, gossip, arguments, and laughter. It was built like a tank, a durable tool meant to last, not be replaced every 2 years. It carried a weight, both literal and metaphorical, that our modern devices simply can't replicate. Using a rotary phone wasn't just making a call, it was a physical ritual. There was no instant gratification here. You couldn't just tap a name. First, you had to actually know the number, a sequence of digits held in your memory. Then came the dialing itself. You'd stick your finger into the hole for the first digit, pull the dial all the way to the finger stop, and let go. The dial would whir back to its starting position, sending a series of mechanical pulses down the line. It was a slow, methodical process. Dialing a long-distance number felt like a significant undertaking. This enforced slowness had a profound psychological effect. It made you think. A phone call wasn't a whim. It was a decision. The time it took to dial was a moment to compose your thoughts, to remember why you were calling in the first place. You couldn't multitask while dialing a rotary phone. You were completely present in the act of reaching out. Contrast that with today. We fire off texts while walking, send emails during meetings, and scroll through feeds while someone is talking right at us. Our communication is constant, but fractured. The rotary phone demanded your full attention just to connect. That friction, that mechanical delay, wasn't a bug. It was a feature. It filtered out the trivial and made the act of calling more meaningful. It was a technology of pure intention. Do you remember your childhood best friend's phone number? Your grandparents'? For generations, memorizing phone numbers was a basic life skill. Our brains, and maybe that worn-out address book by the phone, were our contact lists. These numbers were more than just data. They were loaded with meaning. The specific pattern of dialing a loved one's number became muscle memory, a familiar dance for the fingers. Early phone numbers even had lettered exchange names, like Pennsylvania 6 to 5000, tying a number to a specific place and a real community. Today, our smartphones hold thousands of numbers, but we ourselves remember almost none of them. Our brains have outsourced the job of remembering to a device. This isn't just about convenience, it's a fundamental shift in how we think. We've traded a deep, internal knowledge of our social circle for a shallow, externalized archive. The loss of a phone can trigger a genuine panic, not just because of the cost, but because without it, we are cut off from our own social map. The rotary phone demanded that we keep our connections in our heads and arts. The smartphone just asks that we remember our passcode. This shift affects more than just numbers. We've lost the art of boredom. of the mental downtime where our minds could wander and reflect. Any moment of idleness is now filled with a reflexive reach for the phone. We've replaced the beautiful uncertainty of not knowing with the hollow satisfaction of instant answers. The Rotary era, with its built-in delays and disconnects, gave us space to think, to wonder, and to just be present with our own thoughts. Back in the age of the landline, an unanswered phone call meant one of two things. They weren't home, or they couldn't get to the phone. That was it. There was no read receipt, no last seen online status, no immediate anxiety about being ignored. The ring of the phone was an invitation, not a summons. It was filled with anticipation. A call from far away was a special event, a chance to hear a voice you couldn't access on a whim. Now, we live with the expectation of constant availability. A message is sent with the implicit demand for a swift reply. A notification that goes unanswered can breed anxiety and misinterpretation. The smartphone, designed to connect us, has also tethered us to a relentless cycle of digital obligation. We are always on, always reachable. This constant pressure creates a low-grade stress that runs through our lives, a fear of missing out that can leave us feeling anxious and inadequate. The joy of a spontaneous connection has been replaced by the pressure of perpetual contact. Studies have shown that parents distracted by their phones talk less to their children and are less responsive, which can impact a child's emotional development. Research also shows that couples experience lower relationship satisfaction when a partner is constantly phubbing, snubbing them for a phone. We are more connected than ever, yet we often feel more isolated. The very technology meant to bring us together can create emotional distance between the people who are physically right there. We look back at this old plastic phone and see its flaws. You couldn't carry it with you. You couldn't send a picture with it. You couldn't check your email. For decades, technological progress has been about removing this friction, making communication as seamless, instant, and effortless as possible. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if those limitations weren't limitations at all? What if they were features? The friction of the rotary dial forced intentionality. The immobility of the landline created a central hub for the family. The shared nature of the device taught negotiation and patience. The lack of a screen encouraged you to listen to the tone of a voice, not just read words. The difficulty in reaching someone cultivated anticipation and made the eventual connection that much more valuable. These were not bugs. They were the very mechanisms that built a different kind of social fabric. This old plastic phone created deeper bonds, not in spite of its limitations, but because of them. It forced us to be present, to remember, to be patient, and to share. It demanded a small amount of effort, and in that effort, we found meaning. The smartphone offers a world of connection with zero friction, but in doing so, it has made our interactions lighter, faster, and often more superficial. We've traded depth for breadth. We have more connections, but we may be less connected. We can't go back. The convenience and power of the smartphone are undeniable, connecting us to knowledge and people across the globe in ways we once couldn't imagine. But that doesn't mean we can't learn from the past. That old rotary phone isn't just a nostalgic antique. It's a reminder of a different way of connecting. It reminds us that connection isn't just about speed and efficiency, but about presence, intention, and effort. Maybe the solution isn't to abandon our devices, but to bring some of that old-fashioned friction back into our digital lives. Maybe it means putting our phones away during dinner. Maybe it means making a voice call instead of sending another text. Maybe it's about rediscovering the joy of being fully present with the people right in front of us. This old plastic phone can't make calls anymore, but it can still offer one last vital connection. A reminder that the strongest human bonds are forged in the spaces in between, in the patient, deliberate, and beautiful effort of reaching out. What memories do you have of your first phone? Was it a rotary, a push button, or something else entirely? Share your story in the comments below.